You've just been introduced to someone. Smiles, a handshake, a few words exchanged. Everything flows perfectly until that person turns around, walks barely 3 meters away from you, and your mind goes blank, completely empty. Their name has vanished as if you never heard it at all. And this isn't the first time. In fact, it's the 10th time this week. You start to wonder if something is wrong with you, if your brain is failing, if you're the only person in the world incapable of remembering something as simple as a name. But let me tell you something that will completely change the way you see yourself. It's not you, it's your brain, and it's not broken. In fact, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The problem is that no one ever explained why. Look, we live in a society obsessed with labels. Names are sacred. Forgetting someone's name is seen almost as an offense, a sign of disrespect, proof that you don't care about that person. But here's the trick. Your brain doesn't work with labels. Your brain works with experiences, with emotions, with patterns, with images. And if you're here watching this video, chances are your mind is one of those that prioritizes depth over surface. One that remembers how someone made you feel, but not what their name is. And that, believe me, is not a weakness. It's a completely different way of processing the world. I'm going to explain exactly why your brain discards names so easily. And by the end of this video, you'll understand that what you thought was a flaw is actually a feature of a mind that processes information in a more complex way. So breathe, relax, and come with me. The first thing you need to understand is what happens in your brain when you meet someone new. Imagine the scene. You're at a meeting, a party, a conference. Someone approaches you, extends their hand, and says their name. But in that exact moment, your brain isn't listening to that name. Your brain is doing something far more important. It's assessing threats, reading microfacial expressions, measuring tone of voice, calculating whether this person is safe, hostile, or friendly, processing your own nerves, your body posture, your social anxiety. All of this happens in milliseconds, unconsciously, and the name, that small verbal label, is the first thing your brain sacrifices. Studies from the University of California have shown that people who are highly sensitive to social context, those who easily pick up on emotional subtleties, are precisely the ones who forget names most often. Not because they're careless, but because their attention is occupied with something much deeper. Instead of recording a word, they're recording a complete experience. They're reading between the lines, and that requires an enormous amount of cognitive resources. It's pure overload. But there's more. Even if you manage to catch the name in that first moment, your brain needs something crucial to consolidate it into long-term memory. It needs emotion. It needs meaning. It needs a hook. Think about the names you do remember. I bet they're tied to something important. A story, a strong feeling, a memorable moment. Those names didn't float in the air and magically stick. They anchored themselves because there was something behind them. But when you meet someone in a superficial context, when a name arrives without emotional meaning, your brain simply sees no reason to store it. It's weightless information, empty data, and your brain, which is incredibly efficient, discards it without mercy. Now ask yourself this. When you're talking to someone, what do you focus on? The label their parents gave them at birth, or what they're saying? The ideas they share, the emotions they transmit. If you're someone who forgets names easily, chances are your attention is completely absorbed by the content of the conversation, not the packaging. For you, the name is metadata. Secondary information. What matters is somewhere else. Research from the University of Cambridge has found that people with dominant conceptual thinking prioritize patterns and meaning over verbal labels. They remember the essence of what someone said, but not necessarily their name. And this isn't superficiality. It's the opposite. It's deep processing. Here's something fascinating. Do you remember faces, places, visual scenes with great clarity? If your answer is yes, then your brain has visual dominance over verbal dominance. And this is key. Names are verbal abstractions, arbitrary sounds assigned to people. They have no shape, no texture, no color. They're empty symbols. And if your mind works better with images than with words, it makes perfect sense that names don't stick. It's not that your memory is bad. You're just using a different kind of memory. But there's something even more subtle, something few people consider. When you're in a social situation and you feel anxiety, even mild anxiety, your sympathetic nervous system activates. Survival mode. And when that happens, your ability to encode new verbal information is blocked. Your brain goes on autopilot. All that matters is getting through the situation without messing up, without saying something inappropriate, without embarrassing yourself. And the name of the person in front of you is the last thing your brain will spend energy on. It's pure biology. Now let me ask you something uncomfortable. When someone tells you their name, do you repeat it out loud? Do you use it in the conversation? Most people don't. And there's a psychological reason for that. Repeating someone's name can feel artificial, forced, like a salesperson's trick or a professional networker's technique. And if you value authenticity, you probably avoid it because it feels fake. But here's the problem. Repeating a name within the first 30 seconds is one of the most effective ways to lock it into memory. By not doing it, you let it slip away, and your brain doesn't even notice. But there's something even more interesting. Your brain is constantly making utility calculations. It's evaluating whether information will be relevant in the future. If your mind senses that you won't see that person again, or that the name won't be necessary in your daily life, it simply doesn't store it. It's not coldness. It's not disinterest. It's pure efficiency. Your brain is optimized to store what matters, not what's disposable. And if there's no clear signal that the name will be useful, it gets discarded without remorse. Now think about how you remember people. You don't remember them by name, do you? You remember them by moments, scenes, what they did or said. The guy who talked about architecture, the funny woman from the presentation, the guy with that incredible jacket. Your memory is episodic. It works through stories, not labels. And there's a neurological explanation for this. Your hippocampus, the brain region responsible for memory, is designed to store complete experiences, not isolated fragments. Names are fragments. People are experiences. And you remember experiences. Finally, I want you to consider something deep. For you, a name does not define a person. It's just a social construct, an arbitrary agreement. Studies from the University of Toronto have linked this to abstract thinking and high empathy. People who see identity as something more complex than a name tend to connect with others on a deeper emotional level. They don't need the label to remember who someone is. They remember their essence. And that, believe me, is far more valuable. So if you made it this far, I want you to understand one thing. You are not rude. You are not careless. You do not have a bad memory. What you have is a brain that prioritizes the human over the formal, that chooses empathy over protocol, that remembers who people are, not what they're called. And that is not a flaw. It's a different way of processing the world, a deeper way. You are not broken. You are just different. If you made it to the end, comment, "I made it," and I'll personally reply. And if this content resonated with you, subscribe to be part of the community. and give it a like if you enjoyed it.